Hey guys, how's everyone out there doing? So, how many people are going totally stir crazy during this whole quarantine thing, and how many people are loving it? I'm just curious to know. I took a poll today to ask my kids how they felt about everything, honestly, because I kind of wanted to know. I want to make sure they're doing okay. And my older daughter said on a scale of 1 to 10, as in 10 she's hating it, being home all the time, and 1 is that she's loving it. She gave it a 2. So I guess maybe she's like her mother and she just loves to be home, because I'm personally loving it. I'm loving being home all the time, and I know that's really weird. And I've always thought I was just a weird hermit type-ish person, and now I'm kind of thankful that I am that way. I'm glad that I don't thrive on socialization, because I'd be really sad right now. And my younger daughter, who does love to be around people and loves being around her friends as much as possible, she gave this a 4. So this current situation, so I feel like, at least we all are able to cope with it for now. So far, everyone's doing okay here. I hope everyone out there is doing okay too. And I just wanted to talk really quick for just a moment about how right after everything had kind of started, the whole toilet paper thing, everybody went crazy. And then after that, when everybody started just buying food left and right, I just noticed something. And it's just kind of, I guess I've always known it, or I've noticed it for a long time, but this was really an eye-opening experience on just how broken our ideas are on our food system, and how broken our food system is at the moment, and just how far away the average person has gotten from their connection to their food and where their food comes from. And how I just want to encourage you, while you're home anyway, to take the time to take a step back while you already have some extra quiet time, and just really evaluating yourself. How do you really view how your family takes in food, and where you get your food from? Could you do things different? Could you do things better? Do you already feel like you're pretty successful in this area? But I think right now could be a really great time to just really consider these things, take some notes, maybe set some goals out for the year, for the next few years, on some ways that we could all do better with food, and where we get it from, and how we view it, and how we view the people who bring the food to us, and how we educate ourselves and our families on food and the food supply chain and the whole system. And so I just want to encourage you to really take some time and think about that. And so I realized probably a week before things really hit the fan that something was off. Like, I went to the grocery store and I got in there, and nothing was really going on yet in our area. And I don't watch the news a lot, so but I knew what was going on, but this was before people started craze buying like mass amounts of food and toilet paper. The week before that, I went to the grocery store, and I don't know, I just had this weird feeling. I just felt like there had been a shift in the atmosphere, and I immediately recognized this because one, I was old enough during 9/11 to remember that feeling of tension in the air and uncertainty. And then within a year after 9/11, I actually was engaged to a man that was in the military, and we got married, lived on a military base, and people were deploying continually back to back to the Middle East, and living especially on a military base, and being in the military, being a military family, you pick up on things. There's a different type of tension that surrounds your life and controls your life whenever it's in, especially during a time of war. And just standing in the middle of Walmart, I felt all of that uncertainty and tension in the air that I had not felt in a very long time, since I'd actually probably lived at a military base. And I recognized it right off the bat, and it took me back, and it took me a few minutes to stand there and kind of realize, why was I picking up on this? Like, why was I feeling, why was I sensing all this? And what did I need to do about it? And so I was getting groceries anyway that day, and I went through. When I got to where the beans and the rice were, I realized there was 2 bags of beans left and there was no rice. And that made me think even more, okay, somebody out there who's more on top of it than me, they have really already thought about, oh crap, like what is going to happen when the things that are happening and trying to happen here. And so when I saw that the beans and rice were gone, which never happens around here, I was actually going to buy beans, because we eat pinto beans at least once a week. That's just, I grew up in a family, literally as a kid, we had pinto beans 3 times a week. Like, it was always an available side dish. And so I actually went a long time without eating them, and then I realized, hey, this is a cheap meal. And so I started cooking them again once a week. Anywho, so I went to actually just buy normal beans, and I realized, when I saw that, I was like, okay, I need to go home and evaluate if there's anything at all that we need, and really think about this for a little while. So I came home, I thought about it, I told my husband, hey, I really feel like it'd be smart for us to be prepared ahead of time, because you know as well as I do, him being in the military, people get crazy about things really fast, and I just don't want any part of that. And so we agreed. The next day I went and bought 2 weeks worth of the groceries that we needed. I do preserve a lot of stuff. We have a yard full of farm fresh meat that's still alive, and so I mean, we don't really, and we hunt and fish and all those things, and so we don't really, it doesn't stress me out, the thought of where are we going to get food from, like it may stress a lot of other people out. But there are things, you know, just your usual comforts that you want to get. I went ahead and got 2 weeks worth of that. That was on a Tuesday. On Wednesday, I thought, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and tell my family and my friends that are really close to me. They already think I'm crazy anyway about stuff. I am not a prepper. Like, I think people who are doomsday preppers are crazy. But I thought, you know, just for their own sake, I'm going to go ahead and tell them, hey, it wouldn't be a bad idea. They keep joking about this whole toilet paper shortage. If people are going to act that way over toilet paper, imagine what they're going to act like about food. You should go ahead and go buy your groceries now before the weekend. I told that to at least 6 people, like people that are really close to me. And I don't think that any of them actually took my advice and did it, because on Friday and Saturday, days later, I was getting like message after message after message and call after call from family and friends going, oh my gosh, I'm standing in the grocery store and there's nothing, and these people are crazy and people are acting a fool. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I remember, I pulled up the text. I remember telling you guys, you need to, you know, this isn't my first rodeo, and you need to go do that stuff like then. So anyway, they were all complaining that there was no food. So I give it a few days. That was like Saturday when things were really crazy here. Like Monday or Tuesday, it was getting close to my daughter's birthday. I actually thought I'm going to go ahead and go buy her birthday present before things get any crazier. And I went to Walmart. When I walked through the door, the first thing I saw was like an entire produce section overflowing with produce. Why are people keep saying like there's no food? I'm looking at all the food and it's like right here in front of my face, and I don't understand what the problem is. But then, you know, like all the canned beans were gone, all of the canned vegetables were gone, but all the fresh vegetables were still there except for potatoes. All of the meat was still there, like frozen meat. But anything that was like a prepared meal, that was all gone. All the flour and cornmeal was gone, but like all of the yeast and the oil, baking soda, baking powder, all the things that you actually use as ingredients to bake things, like what I would get when I'm getting flour to bake stuff, with all those things were still there, just no flour. And I was like, so we have a lot of people who bought beans and rice, they don't know how to cook the beans, and they have bought all the flour and they don't even know what they're going to use the flour for. And so anyway, I was like, what are these people going to do with all the flour if they didn't buy the stuff to bake with? You can't just eat flour. I mean, whatever. Anyway, but I was like, I mean, there's still plenty of food here. Like, why are people freaking out so much? I mean, there's canning jars everywhere. You could can this meat. You could can these vegetables. There's a million recipes you could use all these vegetables in to make soups. It reminded me, like, I mean, most people don't cook with fresh ingredients anymore. You buy the box, you buy the can. It's quick, it's easy, frozen stuff. And so it made me think, you know, there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to have a really hard time with this. They're going to be searching for recipes. They're going to be trying to figure this out the hard way. It made me feel bad for them. So I left Walmart and I went to Tractor Supply because I thought I'm going to go ahead and stock up on a couple of weeks worth of any extra things I might need for the animals. There was no blinds, everything was stocked, and I was like, you know what, there is nobody that's worried about buying the food that feeds the food, okay, except for me apparently, because if I was gonna stockpile something, apparently it was gonna be, I was going to go buy the food that feeds my food, and realized, wow, that's like, there's not a lot of other people that think that way. And so I just want to challenge you guys to think about where you get your food from. In the coming days, I feel like there's going to be a lot of stresses put on our communities and small businesses. I would like to encourage you to think about cooking with fresh ingredients, and if you get an extra, you know, if you can get those cheaper than what you would get on the shelf that's already canned, for you to consider learning while you're already home anyway, learning how to preserve those vegetables. It's really not very hard at all to learn how to preserve green beans and tomatoes, and there's just so many things in soups that you can, and even meat, as long as you're careful, it can be super simple. I want you to think about doing those things. And I want to encourage everyone to go out and I was actually doing a different video on seeds that I bought from the Dollar Tree. Super cheap. I mean, crazy cheap. $5, you could have a year's worth of corn, which is way cheaper than buying canned corn and trying to stock it up. Here's my thought. Think of the feeling that you thought, the way you felt when you walked into the store and you didn't see food. Do you ever want to feel that way again? If you do not want to ever feel that way again, start thinking of ways now that you can help yourself. Okay, if you buy up 3 weeks of groceries, eventually in 3 weeks you're still going to need groceries again. If you buy seeds and you plant them, and they're heirloom seeds, and you can save seeds from those, out of these 72 plants, I could save 1 ear of corn and have enough seed to plant my corn back again. And it just keeps, and if I saved 3 ears of corn, I could plant 3 times the size garden next year and not spend any more money. So in one scenario, you're buying food and it's going to run out and you've still got to go back and buy more food. In this scenario, you buy seeds for only a few dollars once, and it gives you a mental sense of peace. I mean, I know that they could grow, something could come eat them. Believe me, deer have eaten a lot of my gardens throughout the years, but it's just the knowledge and know-how that, like, hey, I could do that. That could be a backup plan. And think about ways that, like with seeds, your food won't run out. You will always have more. If you go buy chicken at the store, in a few weeks you're going to need more chicken. If you have chickens and you have an incubator, the chickens are always laying eggs. You have eggs to eat, and then you can be hatching out chickens, and you can raise some of those for meat. You can raise them so they will lay even more eggs. You can sell the extra chickens. It is a cycle. It is the way God intended for it to be. Then you will always, and then it just keeps growing. You will never be without food, and people are not going to be running to the store to buy the food that feeds the food. There's a lot less worry in that. Those prices may go up, but there's a lot more food security in that. And just want you to think about ways that you can do your part to help your community. If you physically can't plant a garden, go to your local farmers market and support those people. If you cannot have chickens where you live, go to the local farmers market and buy eggs from the lady who can. Support your local community, and community is everything. It's not about everyone hoarding up so much me, which is exactly what we've seen in the last few weeks. I want all the toilet paper, I want all the food, and instead you need to push that away and embrace the thought of community. Community is how people have always gotten through things during the Depression, during wartime. Community is everything. And so if you can't, maybe even start a community garden, but try to support local. Buy local beef, buy local produce and eggs and anything of that nature that you can buy local. Support those small businesses. Put your money into your local businesses and local farmers instead of putting your money in Walmart's pocket. Because in return, that's just going to help everyone in your community. Take a step back, think about what you can do to be a help in this situation. Everyone's thinking, well, I can't go do this and I can't go do that and I can't do this anymore. Instead, think about what you can be doing. You can be planting seeds. You can be thinking about a way you could plant a small garden or plant some seeds in containers. You can help your neighbor. You can support your local community. You can support local businesses right now. So quit thinking about all the things you can't do right now. Think about all the things you can. We're all in this together, and that's what that's why we all pride ourselves in being Americans, is coming together and helping each other. And now's the time to do that. So just want to encourage you guys to change up your thinking on how you get your food, where you get your food, and different sources and ways of preserving your food and being more sustainable in your food. And think of ways that you can help your community. Think of all the things you can be doing right now. And stay safe and stay healthy. And that's it. Bye. Thank you.